Dear members of the Council of Ministers, honourable ambassadors of Cyprus, esteemed members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and allow me to welcome you to this special gathering. Before we proceed, may I please remind everybody to switch off their mobile phones or at least put them on silent. Thank you, gentlemen. My name is Melanie Steliou, and it is my honour and privilege to be your hostess tonight. Both I and the Deputy Ministry of Tourism of Cyprus are elated to have you here and share with you a very important milestone. The night that Cyprus changes its tourism logo and renews its tourism brand identity. Of course, for such an important event, the Presidential Palace was chosen as the most appropriate venue to attribute the necessary stature to our night, marking the start of a new era for Cyprus. Please allow me to inform you that the presentation as well as the speeches will take place in English, since there are guests here with us tonight from abroad, and also because we are delighted to share the event through live streaming over the Deputy Ministry's social media platforms and channels. Before we continue, we would like to inform you that all protocols set by the Ministry of Health have been implemented to ensure that everyone has a safe and enjoyable evening. Therefore, let's all remember to keep our masks on during the presentation and keep the physical distances from other guests as indicated. With no further delay, I would like to call the Deputy Minister of Tourism, Mr. Savas Perdios, to join me and begin this evening's program with his opening speech. Mr. Perdios, will you join me, please?
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you for your opening, and it's my honor to share a stage with you. Good evening, everyone. I welcome you to tonight's event, a moment that we have been working towards for quite some time, if I'm honest. A moment that is crucially important, not only for our tourism industry, but for Cyprus as a whole. Before we proceed with the presentations, however, allow me to take a few moments for some thank yous. And I will start from my fellow ministers. You know, tourism is not only the business of my ministry, it is also the business of your ministries. So I want to thank you for your support in the implementation of our National Tourism Strategy 2030. Thank you also to all our ambassadors and the embassies here today for helping us promote our country abroad. And I hope that the relationship we have will become even stronger going forward. To the professionals of our tourism industry, you've been through so much in the last 18 months. So I hope that tonight will give you some strength and courage to keep going. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being patient with us and for understanding us in everything that we're doing. I must also thank Base Element and Green Olive, the two companies that are behind everything you are going to see tonight. They've done an amazing job, and I'm so proud of them. Thank you also to everybody who has worked so hard to make tonight's event a reality. It wouldn't have happened without you. And finally, a massive thank you to my team at the Deputy Ministry of Tourism. Nobody knows how hard you all work, but I do. And rest assured that I will be by your side no matter what. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight marks the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. Gone are the days where the sun and the sea were the only hallmarks of our tourism identity abroad. Now come the days of a new identity, an identity that is more open-minded, more diverse, and more inclusive. We want to use this identity to show the world that there is lots to discover here, and that Cyprus is a fusion of Mediterranean experiences, surrounded by ever-changing sceneries and colors, and a huge diversity of cultures, nationalities, and faces. From a marketing perspective, our new identity is very, very flexible because we can adapt it to every special interest product and experience. In other words, we can adapt it to absolutely anything we want. And actually, our ambition is that you, our partners, also feel able and proud to use it as you see fit. We also want our identity to provide us with a link to the past in a way that resonates with people through their personal experiences, stories, and feelings about Cyprus. Above all, we want our identity to resonate with locals by making them feel proud of their heritage and excited about their future here. My dear friends, tonight, Cyprus has a message for every single one of you. Irrespective of whether you are here physically or digitally, irrespective of whether you were born here or not. To those who have been here before, we know just how much you love Cyprus. To those who haven't yet been here, we are certain that you will love Cyprus. To those who have moved here from abroad, we hope that you have fallen in love with Cyprus. And to those of you who have roots here, we urge you to show your love for Cyprus. Essentially, my friends, tonight is about all of us and about a loving island that cherishes and embraces everyone that crosses its path.
Touch me. With the sound of leaves over rivers dancing on black rocks. Embrace me. With the smell of jasmine climbing on wooden balconies. Surround me, with your voice echoing over ancient theaters, reaching the sea, and returning as a wave at the harbor. Uncover your secrets, unearth your truth, unfold your soul. Lift me in your arms and let me fall. in love with the island that has no end.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Verdios. I would now like to call Mr. George Iakovou, Director of Base Element, who will present Cyprus's new tourism logo and brand identity. Mr. Iakovou, will you join me, please?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. And thank you very much for the warm welcome to this new brand identity. It means a lot to the teams of Base Element and Green Olive and the Deputy Ministry that have been working the past few months on this project. And what I will try and do in the next 15 minutes or so is try to take you through this conceptual journey of how we led ourselves to this outcome, hopefully without spoiling it for you. So one of the first things we did when we initiated the project is to take a journey back in time and see how the brand of Cyprus has evolved through the years. And we have noticed that brand Cyprus, that love was either as a notion or a representation, has been a focal point through the years of brand Cyprus. And it's worth looking at the evolution of the identity, of the visual identity of Cyprus brand. The first logo was created back in 1969 when Cyprus Tourism Organization at the time was launched. And you can see a very nice artwork, fantastic artwork, where there is a sun represented by waves and those little details referring to culture. And a few years later, a new identity a new logo was introduced. You can, a logo that tried to appeal more to the end traveler. And you can identify there Aphrodite, the goddess of love, representing love, obviously, but also the history and culture of this place. And you can see the sun and the waves that represent the key products that this island has to offer. And this logo has accompanied the brand Cyprus for many years, up until 2006, where a new logo was introduced. You can see vivid colors, and you can see also key elements that were there still, Aphrodite, the waves. But it was the first time, effectively, that love was out there so boldly. It was the tagline, Love Cyprus, and it was the heart-shaped sun that expressed the love. And a few years later, 5 years later exactly, a soft revision or revitalization of the logo took place, which today is the logo that, until tonight, I guess, has been accompanied the brand. So, following this review, and it was essential in the process to understand how the brand has evolved. We made more clear to us that what we needed to do is to reinvent Love Cyprus. The phrase Love Cyprus, if you think about it, it's an invitation. It's a call to action. So, and going through this process, we we thought that we need to understand what this invitation means to others. We are inviting others to love Cyprus. We are calling others to love Cyprus. So why? So that question should be asked first to ourselves. So why do we, the people that live here, love Cyprus? What are those things that when we take a step back and think about them, makes us feel love for our island? And it was an interesting exercise, to say the least. We got all sorts of answers. We got all sorts of things that came up, and many things that different perspectives of the same thing. So, but while analyzing what the answers, the data, nothing seemed at the time to be standing out. Nothing seemed to showing us a clear direction as where we should be looking. And again, taking a step back and looking again through that, maybe we thought then that, this is the answer. And the answer to the original question, or was summed up, is effectively this. Cyprus is a unique fusion of elements that can be experienced and enjoyed with ease and comfort. It can be laid back, it can be adventurous, it can be culturally stimulating, it can be lifestyle opulent, it can be nature inviting. Cyprus is not one thing. It's not either or. It's an amalgam of experiences each one of us chooses to have. And that's why we love Cyprus. And we are inviting people all over the world to love Cyprus as well, in their own way. Having a clear direction on how we wanted to go, or where we wanted to go, then we started thinking, how can we visually represent this? So we started thinking of colors and forms, but we knew that certain aspects should be met. We wanted a representation, a visual representation that could accommodate these diverse experiences, these different perspectives of the island, this natural and cultural fusion of this place. So we wanted a logo that would be adaptable and flexible, that would allow us to do so. We also wanted a logo that could enable communication without limiting its potential. We have seen in the past that logos being stiff and don't allow the communication to unfold. They dictate how communication takes place. We didn't want that. We wanted a logo that could remain fresh in time, that could somehow renew itself. And a logo that definitely could work well in digital communication. Again, we looked around us. When we started thinking of colors, we looked around us, and the answer was there. It was looking at the colors, watching around us the fusion of the colors, how smoothly they blend together in the different sceneries of this place. And we thought that that could be a solution. And we did the same thing. We watched for hours the same spot. And you could see the colors, the light, and the colors changing, and that interplay creating different, different fusions and different things of the same place. You were looking at the same thing, but it changed so many times through the hours of the day. And that was, for us, a way to proceed. The fusion of colors, the gradients, we tried to compact all these 1,000 different blues and those 1,000 different greens of the sceneries of this place and put them into these gradients, into these elements that we could use later on. So the next step for us was to identify that form, that visual element that could bring together every idea we had and breathe new life to the logo, new life to brand identity of Cyprus. And it was a long, I'm not supposed to say painful, enjoyable, challenging process where we created lots of different things, lots of variations. We rejected our own ideas, and playing around, we have come to this result we see today and we present today. The logo, there are two main versions of the logo. The one that is full color and the one that is the outline. And the outline is an interesting approach. The outline is while it's still the core brand mark of Cyprus, the core logo, it takes advantage of any background image or background communication that we will use and creates a new version of it. So effectively without diluting the core logo. And based on the gradients we showed before, we created 6 different versions that can be applied based on communication, themes, period, season, and themes. And we also created variations of special interest variations that the industry and the ministry can use on B2B niche activations and niche communications. So you see there is one logo, but there are a number of different variations that can be used to communicate and to build on this brand. As mentioned earlier, that was one of our key objectives. And I'm gonna show some applications how this flexibility can work on different elements. You can see here the same image. You can choose the one or the other logo. So what we are creating here is a room for creativity for visual communicators that will take the guidelines and create materials. You see here a cutout version where the background takes control of the logo and creates a new version of it. The fusion, the gradient of the sky comes into the blends smoothly into the mountain and into the trees. And here is a special interest application where you can see the logos created there. And here are some other variations. You see any communicator has the flexibility within the guidelines to create new themes, new content based on the logos. And these are some applications on digital media that can play on different platforms. And that could be possibly a suggestion for the social media digital platforms that the Deputy Ministry is using. So what we have managed, and that was, again, the objective when we set out on this project, was to create the logo, a communication identity that would enable us to move forward. And you can see that we feel that with this collection and variations, we have achieved that. We have created a logo that can play on any medium and or any channel, even here. And I could go on and talking and showing things for hours, but I will stop here. The new identity is out there and in the hands of the stakeholders of the Cyprus tourist industry to make use of it. We hope that this day, as a milestone or as a way of symbolism, is a new beginning for the Cyprus tourist brand. And I leave you with an invitation. I leave you with a call for action. I leave you with this. Let's love Cyprus again. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Iakovou. On behalf of myself and the Deputy Ministry of Tourism, we would like to thank everyone for attending tonight's presentation. We hope you will support and embrace our island's new brand identity, and we would like to invite you to the garden area for a cocktail reception, accompanied by the fusion musical stylings performed by musicians of the Cyprus Symphony Orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Touch me. With the sound of leaves over rivers dancing on black rocks. Embrace me. With the smell of jasmine climbing on wooden balconies. Surround me, with your voice echoing over ancient theaters, reaching the sea, and returning as a wave at the harbor. Uncover your secrets, unearth your truth, unfold your soul. Lift me in your arms and let me fall. In love with the island that has no end.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to make an announcement. order to be in compliance area, respecting the necessary safety protocols. At the end of this evening, please do not forget to collect your gift bag from the registration desk on your way out. Thank you very much.